Hello, this is Brian Rowe with Mythic MTG Tech number 250. Yes, you heard that correctly. 250 episodes of Mythic MTG Tech. Today I'm doing the December speculation and investment. So let's start with Stoneforge Mystic. Stoneforge Mystic has been going up recently. Stoneforge Mystic should not be jumping like this. There's a lot of speculation that Stoneforge Mystic is going to be unbanned in Modern, and that Stoneforge Mystic would not be overpowered in Modern. As long as Batterskull is legal, Stoneforge Mystic would hurt the aggro decks significantly. Yes, significantly. I know that there's a GP promo coming out with Stoneforge Mystic, and all of the other GP promos have been Modern legal. This will be the first one that isn't, but the foils for Stoneforge Mystic are up over $125, and this is the type of promo that will get people to show up to GPs. I would definitely buy these promos at events. They're going to be way down below the cost of an entrance to an event. They're also beautiful. The new artwork on them is really, really nice. So they will definitely compete in the marketplace with the original foils. No one I know right now is buying the original foils. I do not think that Stoneforge Mystic will be unbanned, but I'm not saying avoid Stoneforge. If you need Stoneforge, it's still a good time to pick Stoneforge up, because Stoneforge is a huge casual favorite card and a staple in Legacy. Stoneforge decks are decent again now that Dig Through Time has been banned, although Storm decks are also pretty amazing currently. Additionally, though, every commander deck wants a Stoneforge Mystic. Every cube wants a Stoneforge Mystic. This is one of the best cards ever printed, and long term, unless it's mass printed in a set, the value will slowly but surely rise. The GP promo is going to do the same thing that the other GP promos have done, which is bring down the price temporarily. It's a good time to get into Stoneforges next year as the GP promo gets distributed widely. But if you need them now, they'll bounce back to this current price that they're at. Next one here, I'm looking at Kolaghan's Command. If Stoneforge does get unbanned, Kolaghan's Command will get much better, but I've been talking about this card for months. It is an incredibly powerful card in Modern and in Legacy. Robots is really strong in Modern, and in Legacy you've got Stoneforge Mystic. This is a great card. I would definitely still pick these up. And Snaring Bridge has jumped again, $40 for a card that was printed pretty heavily in Stronghold, although that was many, many, many years ago. And then again in 7th and I believe 8th edition. So we've got multiple copies of it out there. This is the type of card that I expect to see in the next Modern Masters or in an upcoming deck of some type. I would not hold on to these. I would liquidate any extras that you have, just go down to your playset, and if you're not playing them, there's a good chance that you could even just get rid of them and pick them up at half the value later. Painful Truce has spiked, mostly because of the deck Tom Martell and Patrick Chapin were playing. I would hold on to them in Standard. It is a solid card that may see some Standard play. The foils, though, are actually not seeing much Legacy play. I tried playing the deck. It is a good deck. It's a very difficult deck to play. It is a much harder card to play than something like a Shardless Agent. Much more difficult card to play because you're losing life. You often have to balance how many cards you need out of it. It doesn't affect the board the second it comes out. It's a good card, but it's going to see less play than many other cards. So the foil at 15 is probably a little bit high currently. It will probably drop back down to 10 or so. Command Beacon has started to rise and just keep rising. Something interesting has happened with this current set of Commander decks. There are no Legacy staples, Legacy playable cards in them. So everybody was cheering that this would keep the price of the decks down. But what it has actually done is meant that many less of these have sold, and the Commander playable cards are actually worth significantly more than in the previous sets. In the previous sets, the Commander playable cards were dirt cheap because people were buying multiple copies of these for the Legacy cards and then flooding the market with the Commander cards. What this is actually doing is costing the Commander players more money because they're the only ones buying the deck. And cards like Command Beacon, especially in a more competitive EDH environment, are very strong. I would definitely sell it at $12 because it's very likely to be printed again in upcoming sets. Very cool card, but this is the type of card that helps sell a deck, so I would not heavily invest in it at all. I would get rid of your extra copies, just pick one up for your competitive EDH decks. Primeval Titan is down to $8 currently. Casual favorite card. It's really this low because it is not legal in EDH, but it has the potential to be super powerful in Modern. Titan Bloom is already a deck. Fair decks could also put this in at the top end of their curve to dominate. This is a card that I would definitely pick up now. Elesh is still around $12 to $15. Casual favorite, wonderful reanimator target in Modern and in Legacy. Great card overall. Definitely pick it up. I can see this doubling in price in the next year to two. I'm going out on some other Modern cards here that you probably haven't heard talked about other places. Outside of maybe Collective Company, River of Tears is a great card. Criminally underplayed. The ability to produce blue mana is primary on it. You can switch it over to black, especially with fetch lands, very, very easily. Not taking damage from it helps a lot in Modern. Kessig Run is super cheap because it was reprinted in one of the From the Vaults. Great card. Seeing some Modern play and an incredible card in EDH. Collected Company is at a low right now. This is a powerhouse staple. I was playing against a Slivers deck the other day, and this was the card that put it over the top, along with Diffusion Sliver, an uncommon here that is almost as good as Crystalline Sliver. There's no Crystalline Sliver legal in Modern, and Modern Slivers is a deck. This is the card that helps it deal with Lightning Bolt and Path to Exile. Wonderful, wonderful card. Pick up your sets now at 50 cents before they're a $3 or $4 card. Pick up foils if you can find them also. Something else that has come up to me, I've had several people contact me about buying older, bigger cards or asking me to take a look at their older cards to verify them. There are some counterfeits out there on the market. I would be very careful where you buy these cards. If the deal is too good to be true, I would definitely avoid it. Go with a major retailer. My retailer of choice is Card Kingdom. I do commentary there and used to write for their blog. Make sure that you go through somebody with a very good reputation if you're dropping more than a few $100s on cards. Back to the speculation and investment stuff. Dark Confidant is still really low. Casual favorite card. Every cube wants one, and depending on the meta, he is definitely playable in Modern and in Legacy. Noble Hierarchs are very inexpensive and are going into Modern season, and Maelstrom Pulse is another great card that is very reasonable right now. Additionally, the Legacy staples are still going up. Volcanic Island continues to prove itself as one of the best dual lands, if not the best. This card is still liquid, where a lot of the other dual lands, it's a little bit tougher to move. Volcanic Island is still on the rise. Storm is very, very powerful right now in Legacy, and Lion's Eye Diamonds are on everybody's buy list. Mox Diamond is also seeing a pretty good amount of play. People have figured out that Chalice of the Void is very powerful, and Mox Diamond is one of the fastest ways to get that card out. For some cards that could see a bit more modern playability, Gaddock Teague is criminally underpriced still. He's up to about $14. He's a wonderful commander. He could be played in multiple copies in green-white decks. The number of cards that he just shuts down in Modern is really large. Court of Calling, Scape Shift, Splinter Twin, Ugin. Very powerful cards that are seen all over the place. If you've got this little 2/2 in play, you've got an advantage on the board, especially in an aggro deck where they have to waste a turn killing him. The damage that you're able to get through adds up. Thalia right now is starting to go up. There are lots of sites out there that still have Thalia between 35 and 45. Card Kingdom earlier today had 4 copies up at like 36. This World Magic Cup qualifier promo is just beautiful. I picked up my playset and an extra one for my partner, Maggie bought. It's great. Buy it now before it becomes a $100 card. Geist of St. Traft, I know I've said buy this guy in the past. They put him in a dual deck. He's dropping like a rock. Sell him. Sell him right now. Sell him 2 weeks ago. He is down to about $13 currently. He could bottom out at the $5 to $10 range. I would avoid the GP promo. It's way overpriced at $40. Original pack foils I would still hold on to long term. They have a little bit more growth value to them, but it's going to be at least 6 to 12 months before Geist recovers from this massive printing in a dual deck. Very happy to see Geist in the dual deck. It means that the dual deck may be very competitive. It may have some great cards to it. I look forward to seeing the full list. Beware of buyouts. There's a lot of weird stuff going on. I know TCG Player had piloted something that showed off what the actual sell value is versus the spiked buy value. They seem to have pulled that down off of their site currently. This is from MTG Stocks, just showing the fluctuation in cards. A lot of low print run cards from the old school format seem to be targeted for buyouts. I still like a card like City of Brass as a slow gainer over the next few years, but it's not going to be $100 overnight. It's going to stay at that 60 and slowly rise from there price-wise. Pauper is starting to become a paper-played format. Buy your staples now. There are buyouts happening. Don't buy into the buyouts. If cards seem to be completely gone, go to your local stores, look through their common boxes, pick up the set or two that you need, but don't overly invest in commons. There are giant amounts of these sitting in people's closets, and there's this market inefficiency that those cards have not made it to stores for Pauper. The prices could crash on these at any point. They could also be reprinted really, really easily. I'm happy to see Pauper as a format. What I would recommend picking up, and maybe even picking up an extra copy or two so that you have some to trade, is some of the foils of these cards. I know it sounds crazy, people play Pauper because it's inexpensive, but there's a small number of people who just want to have the most expensive deck in whatever format they're playing. The foil copies of Pauper cards are going to go up. Next thing that I want to talk about is Dark Petition. Seeing a lot of play currently both in Legacy and in Vintage. This is the deck that Sean Yu piloted at the local Vintage tournament a few weeks ago. The top prize was a Time Twister, and second prize was Bazaar of Baghdad. Both of the Storm decks were running 4 Dark Petitions. Dark Petition foils are extremely inexpensive at $6. This is a great card that is going to see play in EDH long term, in Vintage long term, and in Legacy long term. The non-foils are super cheap, but there's a lot of them out there. The foils, though, are also pretty cheap at about $6. I would definitely pick them up, hold on to them. You should be able to trade a playset 6 months to a year from now for easily double that. A lot of people have asked about Waste and the new Colorless mana. I may do a whole video about this. The Waste card appears to be in the common slot, and there will be foil Waste available in the next set. These are going to be wanted by a lot of people. Every single format out there, from Cube to EDH to Modern, Legacy, there's going to be edge cases where this is playable. I would trade for and buy the foils as soon as you can. I think we will see Waste in future sets. I think it could be a while, though, before the demand for the foils is met. I really like this idea. Happy with Waste overall. I'll talk about it in another video, though. I'm going to talk about the expeditions here for a minute and what they're done to the value of boxes. A lot of Battle for Zendikar has been opened, a huge amount of it. People are going after these expedition lands, and the expected value out of boxes is about $80 right now. I've seen a few boxes opened that were as low as $40. For a retail box being over $120, you can definitely find them for lower prices right now, but what expeditions have done is brought down the value of everything else in the set, which I think is very, very good for Standard. It means that Standard is very accessible right now. The prices of a Standard deck are lower than I would have expected currently, especially if they're using cards from Battle for Zendikar. I think this is actually really positive for Magic overall. I hope to see Expedition-style cards in other future sets. These ultra rares allow investors to go in, or the individuals who want the coolest of the cool version, and bring down the rest of the price of Magic for other individuals so that it's more affordable. I actually like this. It does mean that, once again, financially you're much better buying singles than cracking packs, but that's been the case for a long time. The new expeditions have mostly been spoiled at this point. I guess that Wasteland is going to be the premier one at probably $150 or so. Horizon Canopy is likely to be number 2 on that list at probably about $150 also. Some of the other ones are going to be rather low. Tectonic Edge, I don't expect to be more than $30 or so. Although long-term, Tectonic Edge is a great card in Modern. If it starts out that low, I would definitely grab them. Long-term, this printing of Tectonic Edge could be the premier printing. Same thing with Ancient Tomb. We've got some other foil versions, but this is a very beautiful version. We've got the filter lands in here. Filter lands are very different from fetch lands. Most decks play one filter land, where fetch lands are played as a 4 of, and there's usually 12 plus in a deck. The demand on these filter lands is going to be much, much lower. I expect to see these down around the $75 range, maybe even as low as the $35 to $50 range once a bunch of it gets opened. So don't pre-order these at giant prices, with the exception of maybe Wasteland and Horizon Canopy. Those are the 2 so far that could outperform the rest. The rest will probably start out high and drop the same way that the original Expeditions did. If you'd like to explore the multiverse for hidden equipment and other gems, please subscribe to the channel. Thank you to everybody who's over there on Patreon supporting the channel. I greatly appreciate it. We've got some cool stuff coming up. The Ask Anything is going to be completed before the end of the month, hopefully mid next week. Take care. Oh, the blue-green Cascader that is played in Shardless Bug.